Right, so welcome back to another video on this channel. Manchester City have beaten Arsenal by 1-0 at the Emirates Stadium to, of course, keep their lead in the Premier League title race to 10 points above Manchester United, who do play Newcastle now, and Leicester City, who did beat Aston Villa earlier on. And yeah, overall, I'm not going to lie, it wasn't the best of games overall, but I will try and get onto analysing this game as best I can, starting off with the lineups. And for Arsenal, quite surprising overall, because they did make a number of changes. And first of all, of course, changed the centre-back pairing of, David Luiz and Gabriel, changed it for Pablo Mari and Rob Holding to come in, and overall as well made a few other changes in terms of the fact that Emile Smith-Rowe was dropped, in terms of Nicolas Pepe coming in, and in terms of City, no doubt they had the stronger starting 11. I don't think that is absolutely arguable whatsoever. Had a fully fit squad, Kevin De Bruyne and Ilkay Gundogan back into the starting 11, so I think it was obvious that City were going to be the favourites in this game. And yeah, we'll start off with City in this game, because first and foremost, I do think that they did deserve to get the 3 points in this game, but I don't think that it was the most free-flowing performance from City, and I think that City fans will definitely not be able to argue with that, because it did feel like a little bit of an element of complacency for City in the performance after the goal, especially in the second half as well. I just think that they kind of knew they weren't going to concede, because obviously they haven't had the worst record defensively this season whatsoever, and Arsenal, although they did do okay in terms of getting forward and trying to actually go for it, they couldn't really quite break the City press and couldn't quite create opportunities to actually make City panic in the final third for Arsenal. And yeah, I just feel like there was a little bit of complacency in this City performance, but overall I think that City definitely did deserve the 3 points overall, because once again the pressing was just absolutely sensational from City. They've looked like they've rediscovered the hunger from the 18-19 season and the 17-18 season, when City did go back-to-back Premier League titles. They look like they've regained that hunger and desire to win the ball back and win back possession from Arsenal, because they were on the opponents like an absolute rash within seconds, and won the ball back really, really well, and that was very evident once again today. They were absolutely incredible in terms of their pressing ability, and it just looks like for City as well, they just have that fear factor back. It just does look like teams have that sense of fear imprinted in their minds when they play City and play against this City team, and it did look like, especially from the word goal, that Arsenal did kind of fear the City team. I think Arsenal definitely grew into the game with the element of, complacency that City, I think, did possess for a bit of the game, and it did look like Arsenal, as they kind of, got forward a little bit and tried to actually go for it and tried to break into City's half, it did look like as the game gradually went on, especially in the first half, they did gain a little bit of confidence in going forward, but overall I think they definitely had that, imprinted in the back of their minds that City are a very dangerous team and could score at any given moment, and we definitely did see that in the first 2 minutes of the game when Raheem Sterling made it 1-0 with the only goal of the game, which did, of course, claim 3 points for Manchester City overall. Really poor from Arsenal for the goal, I really have to admit, because firstly, for Kieran Tierney, who I think was, really poor today, but I'll get onto him in a minute. Firstly, allowing Riyad Mahrez to cross it in on his stronger left foot. We all know Mahrez is probably one of the most predictable players in the Premier League in terms of the fact that he only really has his left foot to cut in onto, and his left foot is an absolute wand when he wants it to be. So firstly, allowing him in to cross the ball, and secondly, you've just got Rob Holding standing there in the box. I mean, I know a lot of Arsenal fans will probably blame him alongside Hector Bellerin, but I think Bellerin was probably in just about the right position, because I think he was actually trying to mark, I think it was Zinchenko coming in at the back post, so I think it was Rob Holding's man, Sterling, and he just let Sterling, who's, let's be honest, not the tallest guy in the world whatsoever, to just head it into an empty net. It just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever, and of course that was the goal that did separate the two sides, and who knows, if that goal didn't go in, maybe City probably would have, upped the ante a little bit and tried to still score, because they wouldn't have had that element of complacency, because they wouldn't be winning the game, so they probably still would have scored. But if Arsenal didn't concede that early, they would have had probably confidence, and maybe even themselves got to nick an early goal that could have easily set it up for a very different game than it was in terms of the result. As I said, Kieran Tierney I just thought was really, really poor today, and it does quite surprise me, because although I'm a Chelsea fan, and don't get me wrong, I do not like Arsenal one bit, but I do really like Kieran Tierney, and I just think that he didn't look like he was 100% fit today, because he was injured before today, so he didn't look sharp as he usually does, and I just thought he was really sloppy, really poor. His passing wasn't there, and overall his execution, both offensively and defensively, definitely wasn't there for anyone to see. Martin Odegaard as well didn't really get to stomp his authority on the game overall, and I think it was the right decision for him to be taken off. I do actually think he should have been taken off earlier on in the game for Smith-Rowe, who I think is better in terms of pockets of space. I think Smith-Rowe gets into good pockets of space, gets into good positions to bring Arsenal forward, but I think that Arteta did make the substitution probably a bit too late. And in terms of Arsenal's overall performance, I think they did okay mainly in the first half. I think they actually tried to create chances when they got forward, just couldn't quite get in behind City for that final pass or the final shot. I don't think they really panicked City, as I said earlier on in the video, in terms of actually creating a clear-cut chance to obviously score against them. I think the second half probably less so for the most of it. I think in the last 10-15 minutes they did kind of grow in confidence a little bit, but for the most part in the second half I think it was more possession more than anything for Arsenal, and I think they couldn't once again quite beat this City press, and I don't think they could really break City down the way they would have wanted to. But there definitely is positives for Arsenal to take as well as negatives, because in terms of negatives, obviously they couldn't really deal with this City press, as I keep saying. They couldn't really deal with the fact that City clearly did have a better squad. But overall, I think Arsenal, did okay in terms of keeping the ball, trying to get forward, and there definitely is positives to take if Arsenal are playing a team that are not at the level of Manchester City, because I think Arsenal, if they played like that against most of the smaller teams in the league, would manage to do very, very well. But the reality is for Arsenal, if Leeds were to beat Southampton in midweek, Arsenal would drop back down to 11th and back into the bottom half of the Premier League table. So overall in the swing of things, even though Arsenal in the last 2 months have looked a little bit better in terms of the results and the performances they have been getting, it still does look like a very bleak season overall, and I think that this is definitely a season that will not live long in the memory whatsoever for Arsenal fans unless they really have a strong end to the season. In terms of City standout performers, I think that Fernandinho absolutely bossed it in midfield, just made it look easy even at the age of 35, and to be honest, he's an absolutely exceptional player and has been since he arrived from Shakhtar Donetsk in 2013 for Manchester City, and definitely going to be remembered as a Premier League great, because overall he's had an absolutely incredible career at Manchester City, and today once again showed that he still does possess it, because as I said, he bossed the midfield in terms of winning the ball back, his distribution is brilliant, and he just looks so cool on the ball. And I think he was very good once again for City tonight. I think Kevin De Bruyne was actually really good once again, only played 60 minutes of the game because I'd say that was probably what was recommended from the fitness staff, but overall I think when he was on the pitch, I thought he was really good, and I think that him and Gundogan have a really good partnership, because as I've said multiple times on this channel and will continue to say, Gundogan is so good at getting into space and pockets of space at the right time, and I think that's absolutely perfect for De Bruyne, because of course we all know he has that killer ball in him, and we definitely seen that at spells today as well. But yeah, back onto Arsenal now, because I actually do want to have a little bit of a look at Arsenal's short-term and long-term prospects for the future, because I think they're a team that are so close but just yet so far from top 4 contention next season. Because first of all, I think they need to add a few players to compete for this starting 11 position. Firstly, I think they need a right back, because I think Hector Bellerin is extremely average. I think they probably need one centre back, if not 2, and I definitely think they need a winger as well, because even though Nicolas Pepe has had a bit of a purple streak in the last few weeks, I just don't think he's up to it whatsoever. And they need to get Thomas Partey back to full fitness, playing on a weekly basis, not only because he's a very good player and has legs on him, has an engine, very good passing range as well, but also does unlock Granit Xhaka, who I think is a very underrated player at times, and can be a very good player for most of the season if you do have someone like Partey to cover for him next to him. And at the same time as well, they need to get Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang finishing on a consistent basis, because yes, I know he got a hat-trick against Leeds last weekend, but today he went absolutely missing, and overall throughout the season hasn't had a good season whatsoever. And so yeah, I think that is where we're going to end this video. Arsenal 0, Manchester City 1 at the Emirates. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like. 20 likes as per usual would be massively appreciated by myself, and also if you could subscribe to the channel, that would also be massively appreciated, because we are now looking to hit 1,500 subscribers on this channel as soon as we possibly can. So if you do hit that subscribe button, it would cost you absolutely nothing and would make my day, so it is very much a win-win situation. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Manchester City back to within 10 points at the top of the Premier League table, currently cruising away with the Premier League title in 2021, and see ya.